Welcome to JD's Prep. In this problem, we're told that David correctly factored the expression m squared minus 12m minus 64. We want to know which one of these four expressions is the expression that he wrote since he factored it correctly. To factor a quadratic polynomial with three terms, like we have here, and our first term, which is just the variable squared, what we need to find is we need to find two numbers that multiply together to give us this last number, the constant, and add together to give us this middle number, the coefficient on the variable. So in this case, negative 12. Since we have these four options to choose from, we have four options for the two numbers that are going to work for this polynomial. For our first one, we have negative 8 and negative 8. For our second one, number 2, we have negative 8 and positive 8. For our third one, we have negative 16 and positive 4. And for our last one, we have positive 16 and negative 4. The first thing we want to do is check and make sure that we can multiply them together and get a negative 64. For the first one, if I do negative 8 times negative 8, a negative times a negative gives me a positive number, so I'm going to end up with positive 64. Which already tells me, since I did not multiply to the negative 64, it can't be the first one. The negative 8 and the negative 8 in the factored form for number 1 won't multiply together to give me that negative 64. So that one's out. For the second one, negative 8 times positive 8, if I do negative 8 times positive 8, I am going to get the negative 64. So that one's still a possibility. For the third one, negative 16 times 4 is also going to give me negative 64, so that one could work. And the same thing with the last one. If I have 16 times negative 4, that is negative 64, so that one's also a possibility. I've narrowed it down now to 2, 3, or 4. The other thing that has to be true, as I said, is the two numbers must add together to the number in the middle. If I do the negative 8 and the 8, negative 8 plus 8 is going to give me 0, which is not negative 12, so that one's got to be out as well. If I do the third one, negative 16 plus 4, that one does give me negative 12. Since that's the number we're looking for, number 3 is the one we're going to want. But just as a note, since I'm using the same two numbers, just the opposite signs, let's check the last one. If we have 16 plus negative 4, since the larger number is positive, 16 minus 4 is going to leave me with a positive 12 instead of the negative 12 that we wanted. So if you have a polynomial of this form, m squared minus 12m minus 64, or with any other two numbers in there, and you want to factor it, look for the two numbers that multiply together to your constant and add together to the coefficient on the variable in the middle. Make sure that you pay close attention to the signs because that's where a lot of mistakes can come in when trying to factor these types of polynomials.